Yo, share, put one in the chat so I know you can hear me. So I want to talk about the events that took place over the weekend. And the reason why I want to talk about the weekend is because the weekend entailed someone's great escape. Now, for those that are going to do some investigation, my community board is where you need to pay attention because there's a whole lot of money grabbing going on. So what that talks about is someone not needing any money because they already got it. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? They already got it. So what's taking place is the real is being separated from the fake bars. When I woke up this morning, I noticed something. Now, some of you may remember me saying that when my channel goes under 65K, that means I'm doing something right. Now, for those that are not analytics, stats, nerds, you won't understand what I'm talking about because the proof is in black and white. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Now, what they want me to talk about is Young Jeezy. Now, when I said Jeezy Bazel is not Young Jeezy, people said, okay, because they don't want it to be Jeezy Bazel. Now, you gotta ask yourself why. Some of you are starting to notice when I share celebrities, entertainers, stars, a whole plethora of hidden videos start coming up. People start seeing things that they haven't seen before. And the reason why this is taking place is there's a separation taking place. That's why. Let me just bear with me while I get this fool here together, because I am not a toy. And you about to understand that I'm not a toy. So now that he understands that I'm not a toy, we're gonna carry on. Because what is happening? Oh, so their name was Sledgehammer. What was the square name before? I ain't even, you know what I'm talking about? I am not in need for near fake viewer. What's happening is I'm separating the real from the fake. That's what's happening. There has to be some separation taking place. They want me to talk about all them boots getting kicked in. The doors getting kicked in. For those that are puzzled as to why I do that, is because they have backwards thinking. These are the ones that say they are dyslexic. So if I say it backwards, they understand. I see Sledgehammer was hidden. That's what I see. I don't know about y'all. Since Jeezy Buzzell is so popular, they want to tell you why Jeezy Buzzell is so popular. It is because Jeezy Buzzell was a player in his day. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Unlike most men, particularly angel men, Jeezy Buzzell realizes his ex counterparts, even if they're in a different body. So that means when they are reincarnated, not incarnated, he comes and snatches them up again. When you talk about karmic debt being owed, some of it is so huge and gigantic that it's lifetimes. That's for their era. Much love. Much love. That's for their era. When every time you're reincarnated, they gotta come snatch you up again, that means you did something major. What I know to be true about pain, let me tell you something about service. You don't know nothing about service unless it's lip service ninja. You guys my drift? Word around the town is you give good sloppy toppy ninja. That's all I'm talking about. That's all. So now we know that we're separating the real from the fake. What I'm talking about is Jeezy Buzzell. I said this ninja gives good lip service, sloppy toppy. You know what I'm talking about? At least that's what they say around his hood. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Y'all want to know about the RAID. Y'all realize some people don't even know what that is? They start posting spray cans. That's the L7s that look and think they know what I'm talking about. We ain't the same. We is not the same. It's a whole lot of going on. Currently, what I'm listening to on my right side, because the ears make a difference, is a whole bunch of talking in their sleep. You know how people talk in their sleep and they tell on themselves? You ever been asleep with somebody and they just start talking? And you just laughing, saying, this ninja talking to himself. They be just talking and telling, you just be like, That's a good one. I'm sitting here with my coffee. You know I like it black. Black is black. I'm gonna talk about the activities that has been taking place, specifically in the last 24 hours, because somebody thought THEEEGOT was for the play. They realizing now the God is not for the play. The God is big on ego. He don't just do things the normal way. He'll take you all around the world to prove a point. He finds some of y'all entertaining. When Jeezy Buzzell listened to Young Jeezy, he shook his head, yeah. Because I gotta have the approval of them before I post anything on that community section. Because they don't want me misrepresenting the underworld. He knows what he likes. Some of y'all, when y'all start thinking of some of these legends, because that's what Young Jeezy is. When you start thinking of some of these legends, you put a face that does not belong. You know. So you be thinking it's one person and it's not. Now, before I start asking, is there any questions? I want you all to realize, again, that my members are protected. So run up on them if you want to. That's right. It's something about the flow. Even if you're not looking into their eyes, it's something about the flow that cannot be duplicated. And the sound, their voice. It's a unique voice. You're not ever going to get another voice like Young Jeezy's. This is what many don't understand about the music industry. The voice makes a difference. You know how some people can get on the mic and the flow be good, they're commercial, but the voice and the style and the technique can be duplicated by anybody. You have some, when you hear him, you say, yeah. You know, for instance, when you hear JT the Bigger Figure, you say that's JT. You know what I'm saying? No matter what. The audio tune was made popular by, what's his name? They don't want me to say his name. Usually when that happens, something is not connecting with that entertainer. It's like the guy be talking to him and talking to him and talking to him, and they're not doing what the guy wants them to do. So when the guy allows me to see these celebrities, entertainers, especially actors, after their ascension, it is because they did something the God wanted them to do. T-Pain is right. He made it popular. He blew it up and tore it down. So in my opinion, there is not going to be one person that could ever do an auto-tune and surpass him. Iconic. So, and this is what I'm talking about, separating the real from the fake. Now, if he wasn't marketable, T-Pain, many people wouldn't know who he was, and somebody will come right behind him, steal his technique, steal his flow, steal his style, including his hair at that time, and say that they were him. You know what I noticed? Especially when somebody wants to be you, specifically celebrities. They will take your name or something similar to it, block you, because this happened to me, and then start uploading as if they are you. Because they feel like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, what I know is certain songs that I share, especially those that are past 10 years ago, that means there was actually 20 or 25 years ago. They came out way before then. So what y'all are understanding is that many artists now don't have no flow. I'm gonna go out on the limb and say that my era is the era where the original flows was created. That meant they grew up listening to Earth, Wind & Fire, James Brown, people like that. And so when you grow up listening to that type of music, you develop your own style, your own flow. It is an influence that these original bands and entertainers have. And some will tell you who their greats are. So the reason why it's important is a lot of you, when you put stuff in your search engine, you see all the wannabes. It's important because when they get a following, things like he said it first, I did it first happen because the artist that originally said it and did it first is local. Then you run up in some of those big producer studios and you start spitting and he say, I heard this before somewhere else. I know I heard this. You know, some know and still record because they want that money. But others will say, you're going to have to change that. Just change that. On a sly kind of way, just change that bar because it don't sound right. That's when they don't want to bust it out at you. But you definitely been busted out of it a long time ago. Y'all want me to talk about Mystical. I used to be a Mystical fan because he also has an original flow, original style, but he bit a lot of the Bay, specifically bars. He bit off a lot of them bars. Now producers know it. You know, I'm gonna go out on the limb and say E40 Fonzarelli is one of Mystical's predecessors. But that talks about is he is a E40 fan on the under. It gotta be. It gotta be. Y'all are saying, I'ma say yeah. I'ma say yeah. Even though he has his own style, he borrows a lot of E40's lyrics. I proved that before. Because what'll happen is they'll get an underground tape, they'll hear an old CD, and they'll say, I'm gonna use that because ain't nobody seen it, ain't nobody heard it. It happens to me all the time. Y'all hear that car taking off? I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but sounds like that, original sounds, can't be duplicated. Like I bet there's a producer somewhere that say, I wanna sound bite a Hemi engine and put it at the end of this track. And when he try, it don't sound right. Cause that's an original flow. It just don't sound right. That is a plane, not a jet. The reason why it's important for me to be on live is I want to laugh when them doors get kicked in. I want to laugh because these are the ones that say, I guess that reading was for me. But when they say it, they realize they don't have connectivity no more. It's very funny. There was so many that wanted me taken out because I busted it out of that damn. I said, I don't be talking and telling. Y'all know what that means. Well, some of y'all don't because y'all don't even know what a raid is. It's hilarious. Not hyphy. I'm talking about the bar where he talked about the gorilla and all of that. That was something that people swore up and down he originated Mystical, and he didn't. They came from E40. as far as I know. Now, if he got it from somebody else, because that was out before, let's see, I possibly was in my early 20s or something like that when he said that. That was out 20 years or so ago. That particular song where he got that bar from. And so now that we have the internet, people could do research, but if you're in certain places, you won't even get certain entertainers if they're local. That means they're not in that system. So if you can't Google a local celebrity whom you know has did numbers specifically in certain places, that means they're not in that system. And for those that follow analytics, that's a major way to tell that you're somewhere else, especially if you're someone that's always in front of some type of program, computer, device, and you're constantly having to research information. You know that settings change. Like, for instance, the green screen is darker. This is not something that I just did. This is how it's coming up. I didn't change the settings. The settings changed by itself. One time I did it and it sounded like a speaker moving. I kind of like this forest green look. Y'all like the forest green? It look like a movie about to pop up. What y'all think? Whichever one you feel best, because your energy is gonna come out regardless. You've been here since virtually the beginning. If you say either that's my sign, but that's not my energy, I'm gonna say I know. If you say all of these is about my nemesis, my enemies, my wannabes, ones that think they could do things to me, then you're correct. And I'm talking to Miss Kendra. The Sapp, are you related to Marvin Sapp? Because it's morning time, my actual voice is a little bit raspy. So all of y'all that want to bet did either brush your teeth yet, the answer is no. Either did not brush your teeth yet, but I'm almost certain that my tongue is clean and that my teeth are whiter than those that are asking. So we just gonna put that in the air where it's fair. That is Frisco lingo. I didn't get that from E40. This is something that we grew up saying. So when he popularizes it, y'all know he putting it on the map. And now that he is a mega star, because of his good investments, people are realizing when they start scrolling his content that they can't do him like that no more, because his platform on here is thriving, flourishing. That's what he wanted to say. What y'all are going to notice is that the chatter is going to dissipate. It's going to get further away, it's going to get lower, and they're going to start screaming. It's like that. That's what that, because certain names, last names, because now they're Googling Marvin Sapp. He's in gospel. So don't get the other brother and say that's who she's talking about. I'm talking about the gospel singer. Did y'all forget? I used to listen to gospel all the time. So those that are important for me, I know their name and can recite it at any given moment if the God don't snatch it out my lips. He does it all the time. Especially to ones that like to put their face in the camera. And he'll take that thought right out of your lips. What is happening is those that want to come in can't. And the ones that are coming in to listen, to see if they could hear those things talking, are noticing exactly what I said, that it's dissipating. Now, partially it's because it's time. It has nothing to do with my relocation, though you all would like to think that. There are some that want me to stay where I'm at so they can hear what is taking place somewhere else because of most involvement with the people that they lay down with. They don't realize when they open the door to certain beings that because the person that they're sleeping with is there, they can hear everything happening in their environment. This is what happens during ascension, specifically. They come to your house and they want to do things like give you sloppy toppy and good, you know. And then next thing you know, everyone is observing your environment. They do things like, can you take me to the store? The baby need diapers. My check didn't come. My check is late. And then they do things like put their recording on and tape your whole conversation so they could use it later. That's more money, more problems. You ever had so much money that you couldn't be around nobody? Because some people feel like if a celebrity specifically has money, then that should mean that they're willing to do anything for them. Now, I've already said more money, more problems, because what I know to be true is after you purchase something, it's old, it's lost its value, and you won't get the same thing back as what you shoveled out. That's everything. If you purchase a car for 30 grand, you're not gonna get 30 grand if you sell that car. Not even if you soup it up with rims, with bead, with the paint. You know how they put Lambo doors on stuff? Those are the type of cars that people want to keep, regardless to how old it gets. And because they want to keep it, they deck it out. So, I guess nobody's had enough money to where they can't be around nobody. Nobody in the chat. That some people don't, they sensationalize people with fame and want to be them and don't realize it's hard to be them. It's hard being a hood celebrity. It's hard being an influencer and a content creator for some when your face is constantly in the camera. Because what happens is people say things like, I'm gonna make him think I'm a fan and get close to him. You know, you've seen those little bits of videos where people had things thrown on them, specifically like at gatherings, like protesting and stuff like that. That type of disdain, if somebody formulates a plan to throw something on you, if they get close enough, that means they're strategic and they're looking for a way in constantly. That's what happens when you have eyes on you all the time, because people see you and they start having all kind of conversations in their mind, then they become jaded. It might be an outfit that you look better in, or a wig, or a car. We see these rappers specifically, and they have all these big chains, and you don't understand that those diamonds is real. You ever seen a piece so cold that you don't even understand that those diamonds is real, because you so used to beauty supply joints, jits. You know what I'm saying? For me, it would break my skin out. That's how the guy cultivated me. I can't wear it. If I wear it, it's gonna be all kind of stuff, pussing out of my ear, skin all lesioned up, bruises and things. You know, it ain't that serious. That's the fake stuff. You put if I put some ice on, that's a little bit different. You ever you ever you ever put some diamonds on that's so cold when the sun hit it, it glimmer and catch the attention of somebody in a drive-through window, and you like they looking at my little piece right here. Yeah, yeah. A lot of times the editors will put the little bling on people's teeth when they have them crushed diamonds in their teeth. I'm not somebody that would put crushed diamonds in my teeth. For me, they'll do things like try to, if I get married, they'll try to dig me up and smoke my bones or something like that. They say I'm Ethan now. Celebrities, stars, they have a different genre of stands than I do. Mine's, in my opinion, are more drastic, because the things that they're willing to go to be able to say that they are me is things that regular people wouldn't even fathom. It's very hard for me to get starstruck unless it's somebody that I grew up listening to or watching. Like one of these new ones, I could be sitting right next to them and you know, it wouldn't even be a thing. I wouldn't even know who they are. But if I ran into somebody like E40, for example, I know who that is. He's not as big to some of y'all, but to me he is, because this is the music I used to listen to. For me, 40 Water is somebody that is major. He's major where I'm from, and he has longevity. A lot of these ones will say that they're better or they don't like his flow, which is a lie. It's a lie. This is all the stuff that I can remember all these little things that they said about 40 Water specifically was because they were jealous of his flow. That's how I seen it. Because everybody sounded the same at that point. He's one of those voices that when you hear specifically on the feature, he blow it up, he make it hot. 40 know that. Anything 40 get on is gonna chart. So if he asking for $5 grand for a feature and you don't think he worth it, you don't need to be trying to do business with him. Now he probably not asking for $5 grand, but he could be. You know, like Ross. I like Rick Ross's character. I don't I don't really listen to Rick Ross music, but his demeanor, his persona, his character, he reminds me of like an uncle. Like, um, he reminded me of like my, not to be funny, but my biological father. They look a lot alike. The bald head, the beard. But my father was a drummer. The same type of stature. And when he would talk, he would strike fear in a lot of people. So that's why I like Ross. He is somebody that when he do a feature, he gonna blow it up too. With me, because I'm from the West, if it don't have a major 808 on it, it's not gonna get my attention. I like the bass drop. If it ain't no bass on there, I'm not gonna say that's it. Now some I listen to and it don't have it on there. And it's all right. But that dunch, 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 I don't like that. That give me a headache. It's a certain genre from the Big Apple, you know, that for some reason they don't put 808 on their beats. And it's like it's missing something to me. Like, if they would add an 808 to it, it would make it a lot better. But I don't know what genre. Producers know what I'm talking about because they have, these specific type beats. They'll say type beat. And Cali, the West Coast, has a system. For it to officially be a West Coast beat, it has to have an 808 on it. Because, it's not a West Coast beat if it don't have a 808. So that's the difference. This is why certain people go to certain producers for certain music. What you all are realizing is that the South specifically, not the Midwest, has been rocking with Cali specifically for a very, 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 very long time. So if you try to snatch someone's bars from Cali and take it to a Southern producer, they gonna say, this ain't it. I don't know. To me, I know a lot of producers went underground with who they choose to work with. But to me, with this particular generation, it's more of a liability working with them. Like, you're not really gonna make no money because they always in the headlines for something negative. You always gotta bail them out. They always need something new to wear. This is why I suggested that these big time famous celebrities and entertainers do a closet. Because they got all these chinchillas and, Versace shirts. Have them go to a closet and put it on. If they don't like it, then they need to buy their own bars. Because, when you got $100 million mortgage and fatty cars, You broke. You broke right now. If you ain't hopped off into something else, music ain't really making it like that no more. I mean, I could be wrong. Who really making money as a producer, producing these ones? They keep coming out, keep coming out, keep coming out. You gotta hit it when it's hot and leave it alone. And that means you can't have a lot of money invested. You just can't. I don't know about y'all, but I stopped watching broadcasts like regular programs years ago. I can't even tell you what's on the TV because I don't watch it. So you take that into consideration. That means there's a market for your device. Even apps. Y'all see what the God is doing to these apps? He said this is Satan's internet, not nobody else's. And he's proven that because the minute you start talking about an underworld being, you notice there's no connection. For instance, when I woke up to check my stats, I looked, I said, this jit say 3 hours ago. And I know I posted that more than 3 hours ago. It's little things like that. Well, a spiritual spouse is something that is beautiful. Not all spiritual spouses are going to be ones that are romantic in nature. What it is for you to get through a trying time. You may say that it is similar to the twin flame journey, and I'm going to say that it is not. It is not. For those of you that were in communication with your twin flame, there was a connection there, but something never came to pass. And what that means is you never were in a home together physically. You never decided to be together. But when it came down to this type of brawling that we have spiritually, it is different. With a spiritual spouse, if they are indeed your spiritual spouse, you communicate with them telepathically. There's things that take place in the spirit realm. You know that it's them. Others that observe know it's them, but they want to act like they don't know it's them a lot of times. They do things like make him think I'm her. These is male and females. You ever heard a dude say, make me sound like his baby mama? Make her think I'm him. This is what the archangels listen to all day. And this is why I said in my prior not podcast, in my prior upload, who they talking to when they say make me sound like? Are they talking to God? Like, is there a genie somewhere where all they gotta do is rub the genie lamp and he gonna come out and grant a wish or something? Genies are real. Jesus Bezel knows about genies. That is for his era. Y'all saying that stuff is made up. For it to be made up in a movie, in a cartoon, that meant at one time it was an actual thing. I could remember posting a Jetsons meme. Because when I said it, I said, this is real right here. When I encountered that meme, it was over 10 years ago. And it was something like changing the hairdo. Like you'll be able to sit in front of a screen and change the hairdo. People didn't put it together that we do that all day. Not me per se, but those that like the filters, They'll change their hairdo 20 times, slim out their face, their body, lighten up their pictures. These are all things that we seen growing up in the cartoons. You know, somebody wants to say the Flintstones. Well, if you take into consideration go-karts, what you're talking about is the feet being on the ground and being able to move. My son, the latest one, is somebody that did that. He had one of them little cars where you get in it and you could walk. So that's not a good example. You know, there was a whole thing about the Pokemon. There's a group of people that believe that the Pokemon are spirits. So I mean, it just depends on where you at, the beliefs surrounding a specific program. So we getting into just about an hour. I didn't post the analytics because it's pretty self-explanatory to most at this point. The new hypothesis is, and this is one that is correct for some places, is that the views are accumulation of every dimension that your content is present in. Because even now, some people are seeing 22, 27 on my latest upload, the one before this. That's not what I see when I end. So that's not taking into consideration what happens after I monetize, because then it's in a different protocol. So what's good? Y'all got any information for me? What y'all see in the news headlines? Y'all see anything interesting this morning pop up on your timeline? Because I keep seeing all the same old stuff. People that don't realize they offline. A lot of the stuff that I see, it is popularized by content creators from other apps. So that means they're watching your content, and then they're breaking it down, clipping it, and things of that sort, and they're uploading it on their platform. To me, YouTube is a major platform. So if you're not active on YouTube, at least with your name, your official name, that means somebody gonna woo-wop you. Well, there was a big thing with the Takati Tick and YT. Which one was better? Since this one has longevity, we already know, because that one is older, they already have a system in place to where they can snatch everything in a heartbeat. I've seen content where they talked about they turned on their device, specifically that app, and everything was gone. Everything. And who you gonna call? Who you gonna call and say something to? Y'all want me to talk about that whole little thing that happened when everybody's information was lost? Well, just about everybody. And you had to re-put in all your institution information. Y'all didn't see no content about that, huh? When everybody's stuff got deleted and you had to resubmit everything. I ain't hear no hoopla about that, because that was a jaw dropper. Because when these guys say something is over, he mean that. That mean you don't think it's over, but he's showing you that he can take it away in the blink of your one eye. That cut most of the chatter out, but it started shortly after because they got paid. There's a level of arrogance to the entitlement era and the descendants of entitlement. They believe they're supposed to be given everything, and if they're not given it, they're going to take it while not knowing what a raid is. It's not computing. You were coddled too much as a child if you don't know the consequences of your actions. My era is the era where they said no cell phones. Y'all era is the era where everything, anything that is incriminating will be on that device. You ever just open up your iPhone specifically and you see cloud storage full? You ever just thought, why is my cloud full? You are correct, and many are doing that. You just don't know their nationality. Because a lot of times for apps specifically to be successful for people like us, you can't know it's us. You catch my drift? I was joking with the underworld, and I made a statement about what people should name their business. If you attach American to any business, like American Sweets, American Estates, American Cleaning Company, American Homegrown, put you a flag on there. Get you a nasty piece of answering service. Everything American. And voila, you have a recipe for success. Because other than that, when they find out that you is with the ish, they gonna try to take you down. You know what? The God is putting in my mind's eye. He's putting that whole little thing about, it was a few years ago when Kanye put all of his sneakers in a warehouse and he gave them away. I said, that is a smart business move right there. That is a smart, Kanye is strategic. When I was looking at one of his videos, I said, I'll be DAMN if we don't have the same taste. He had a rug. I said he had to got this rug from the same place I got mine. Y'all wouldn't think that I can afford a rug that Kanye have in one of his offices. It was expensive to me, but not to him. Or whoever decorated it. But I said, I'm leaving that one here for those that want to dump, that want to jump in the dumpster, and get either this nasty piece of rug. That thing's so heavy, it's getting left here. So, now you see I'm not out yet. You gonna know because the God wants you to know. If I'm live somewhere at somebody's house, if I'm live on the street in my box, if I'm live in a hotel, motel, Holiday Inn, wherever I'm live in my car, I'm just gonna be live because if you rock with me, you rock with me. I just said some. If you have a $1 million mortgage and 30 cars you gotta pay for, then you broke. Some people that invested in condos and stuff like that and don't realize they offline. A lot of it has to do with stats, analytics. Somebody could get on camera with a bold-faced lie and say they making 10,000 views a day, and their makeup, what they look like ain't matching what they're saying. Because you can tell when somebody making 10 racks a week. You can tell. It's like it's a glow on them. You know how, for instance, right? You can see a dude in a hoopty jump out with dirty socks and sandals on and a white tee with some old nasty piece of denim shorts that they probably stole from their homeboy and go into the store. They in a hoopty. You gonna say that's a dirty ninja right there. But let somebody that's making 10 racks, that's not even a lot, a week, jump out in the same attire, but they in the Benz. Let me tell you, nobody gonna see them dirty socks. They may not have brushed their teeth in a month, but as long as they hopping out in the Benz, ain't nobody looking at them dirty socks. It's a trick of the mind. You ever just been so cool you can wear whatever you want? I imagine that we're gonna see some of these ones that really got zeros attached to their name and they not trying to floss no more. Hop out in some regular schmegula. I say something like, why she come out with some slides or something? Why she come out? Why she have like a hair dye in the beauty supply or something? You don't even know it's him. He got his own beauty supply brand, clippers or something. You know, that's the type of moves you start making when you're not worried about a $1 million mortgage. You know, so in business, I mean, at least this is how it was when I was growing up. You got to make a certain amount, right, for a certain amount of time. 1 year is not good. They have a whole little statistics going on about successful business. I think the cap is 7 years. If your business is, if it's, not necessarily thriving, but if it's still functioning in 7 years, that means you have the potential to have longevity. Places like In-N-Out Burger. Y'all realize how old In-N-Out Burger is? I can remember 40 Water had an In-N-Out Burger. A lot of people don't know that. I believe it was In-N-Out. It might have been something else. This was back in the day. I'm not sure if he's still in that, if it is In-N-Out, because it could be something else. Somebody's saying quarter pound. I mean, I know that's when I ran upon quarter pound, it was always after the club. That was a place we would go to in the town. I know about quarter pound burgers. So when you start talking about longevity and real businessmen and women, after the noise died down, people start realizing that you really a businessman and not just an entertainer. That means when they do a feature, they work 5 racks because they didn't came up off of their throne. I don't think a lot of people nowadays do their research before they start talking about people. Because they figure like, oh, he or she, they ain't been and the noise and the wow. They playing the back row. You know what I'm saying? You know, they don't want to be in the front no more. And because they don't want to be in the front no more, people say they broke. Man, the whole time they getting all your favorite rappers' money, all of it. You know, they getting all of it. They ain't seen nothing. You know what I'm talking about? They ain't seen nothing but that car, that watch, them jewels. Because at the time, that's what those that have fame want. They want their body done. They want a car, and all that stuff you gotta pay for. It's not just given to you like that. When you talk about homes, you know that they have content creator homes. Do y'all realize that? That means they have designated homes where some of your favorite content creators go to do their content, and it's not theirs. They could be renting it, or they may have a position that affords them to be able to live there as long as they are creating content. Now, with the outing of fake views, that changes the dynamic, because onlookers, all they want to see is if you're doing numbers. But when they realize that it's a whole bunch of bots and not actual eyes, then that makes a difference. You know, analytics. It's all about analytics. I seen something that was so funny. I said I said in my mind, like, he done messed up. And that is the perfect example of that generation being liability, because they see an opportunity and they think they gonna seize it. And then they just done messed up all their connections for the rest of their life. You know how you can pinpoint with somebody that messed up their whole life. That's what you get from an OGOLE. You know, they can pinpoint where you messed up. You know, something about these people with their face tattooed, just something not right. You start wondering, did they a sin? It's just like a look, not all. Because they got us putting Lil Wayne in my, because he likes Lil Wayne. I like Lil Wayne too. I know Lil Wayne's story. Lil Wayne would say something like, me and Ether is alike. She just a woman and I'm a man. A lot of men understand that about me. But then the males is the ones that make me sound like his real wife. Then they say something like, which one? And start laughing. It's, you know, I was the one that said, for my era, when you call a man or a male an itch, you better duck, because they gonna take your head off. Now that's where I'm from. I don't know about where you from. Now, the itches is just flying everywhere, and I be saying, "Ooh, is it finna be a ta-da, pop, 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 pop?" Because that, to me, that's when you get called out, and I see people do it all the time. The men from my era would not take that lightly. That would be like, you need to watch your back tight ish. Because that means you just straight up disrespectful and you don't care what happens. Somebody saying biting the hand that feeds them. You're right. You're right. And some don't realize that when you go back in the contract and you say, look, this is why they say read the fine print. Because when they come in all willy-nilly, and wanna they wanna be seen. They done stole somebody else's flow and they hot. The producer put that nasty piece of contract in front of them. He said, I got me one right here. And then next thing you know, you don't hear no music for 20 years. And if you hear some, it's rushed. You know what I'm talking about? Like you can tell when somebody had to finish a song and they just didn't care no more because they realized somebody making money but not them. You ever? But the thing was, they got their money already. They just didn't make good business choices. If you want to watch a chain, you want a free beat. Ain't nothing free. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing like a producer giving you a beat and then the song blow up and they still playing it 30 years from now. You like, I ain't receiving no money. You signed that. Who's to say your hotness was going to last 30 years? He captured a moment in time. You don't think that that should be his? You're not hot no more. My beat is hot. That's what some of these that's what some of these behind the scenes, because without the beat it's not hot. Now if you could flow a cappella, then that's proof right there. Some of y'all shouldn't even bought a beat. That beat, you should have just did it a cappella because you could have did without the beat. The beat made you sound weak. That's what I'm saying. I don't know about y'all, but that's what when we listen to music in Cali, that's what we think. You could have got a better beat. Now, how many of y'all know JT the Bigger Figure beats is smacking? How many of y'all know that? Can you spot a JT the Bigger Figure beat? I mean, even on another artist, without seeing the credits, because you know he want that credit. And one of these names, you don't know which name he using, but you know. I wanted a JT the Bigger Figure beat, but he wasn't rocking with me, y'all. Like that. I said, I'm gonna get me another beat. If there's any producers, the last time I did this, somebody sent me a YouTube beat. I want to see if it happened again. I said I could do this myself. They think I'm stupid. But if there's any producers out there that say this beat right here is for Ether, then holla back. You can catch me at oracle@ether@gmail.com. I ain't rapping for free and I don't want no free beat. Cause y'all not slick. I'm not finna go through 20 papers only to find out at the end, at the very bottom, that anything that comes on the radio is yours. I'm not finna do that. You ain't finna have my brain wrecked for 6 hours. I'm sleepy, intoxicated, and just say, F it. That's my ninja. He ain't finna do me like that. And then the whole time you've been done like that, because this is business, not pleasure, type-ish. What I'm talking about? I think Ether needs an office position. What y'all think? Put one in the chat if you think Ether needs an office position. Some of y'all realize that when you put your phone down and you walk away, you have no connection. So you go back and you say, wait a minute, something is wrong. It is because everything is work. So you can come up with another theory about why people have no connection and make sure that it is true. Because if I, Ether, can control your device, I would be wealthy right now. If I could do that, I would be wealthy. That's not my genre. This particular one is looking for someone that could do things like that, and they don't socialize with the likes of you. They're not going to want a partnership, a friendship, or none of that with you. Because those are actually business men and women. They're going to say, they're going to tell everything. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, you ain't going to find none of my music on online. The one song that I created in a lab, as you say, was so long ago. The internet, like we know it, wasn't even a thing. So you're not gonna find nothing with my voice on it. Now you may find someone with my lyrics, but my bars, but you're not gonna find nobody with me. And what happens is they see things, they notice a tone, they notice the rhyming, and they put it. It's been several rappers that have made reference to me in their music. They ain't taking none of my sayings. They're making reference to me. And whether or not, if you catch it or not, that's on you. Let me tell you something. That wannabe sun, moon, and stars wants to feel like she's important. I'm calling her out because, for one, she knows she got me blocked, and she called herself being me. Now that's the one you need to troll. She thought if she put a setup like mine that she would get my viewers. When she realized that I was ministering to the elect ones, it was different. One thing's for certain, two things for sure. The ones that I was talking about, you don't want on your channel because they gonna say she one of them. So now that we got that clear, it don't matter if they're a celebrity or not. Y'all sensationalize the star in my name, and you feel like the music industry is the ones that I'm speaking about solely, and it is not. Now, I want to see what Ditsy talking about. If she get quiet, more than likely it's somebody here in this live. This is the wannabe me, sun, moon, and stars. She's definitely a wannabe. After they can't get the decks that I use, they start getting the ones that they feel are popular because they're watching someone else with fake views. Ain't nothing nobody putting up now is conducive of them making 10,000 a week. If you see someone with 32K videos, one video with 32K, that means they're making 10 grand or more a week. If you consistently getting that every day, y'all, the math ain't mathing. The thing is, regular smuggler people that when they open up this app, they don't realize the game. Now, y'all seen my views. Now, if my little bitty views can put me in six figures, what do you think someone getting 32K a day or more would be making in a year? The math ain't mathing. So, I have not made six figures in, this will be the third year. So, some of y'all with screwed up analytics need to realize that you already got your portion that is going to get you through a hard time. And if you didn't spend it wisely, that's on you. Because the minute you start talking about the G Fund, a CA, people gonna start laughing. Because y'all the ones that keep saying everybody broke, broke. So you better just keep it on the down low. Nobody has to know. When I'm laughing like this, y'all got to realize it's a host of underworld beings laughing too, because they think I'm funny. I can just sit here and just talk in my mind to them, and they just be laughing. Do y'all realize that Lucifer got mad at me because I made him love? I made him feel love again. He got mad at that. Issy Kenny, y'all, don't talk about me. These is the ones that when I gotta make him talk, y'all. These is the ones that they don't want to laugh. They don't want to laugh. They don't want to feel no love to do their job. And then God said it's time for you to go to a higher height. That means He don't need you in the energy of vengeance all the time. The women are worse. Y'all don't realize the one that said, when she starts doing this and that, that's my universe mother. That's Baphomet's wife. That is his spouse. She is not, that's Shanagain. You don't want to play with her. That one right there, like when she start talking like that, ooh wee. Y'all gotta understand, when I met my universe mother, everything I looked at was red. She scanned the whole room. It's like, y'all would say it was like a Orisha harnessing. She said she went from left to right. I don't know what she was looking at, but all I seen was red. Shanagain is not the one to play with. And when she comes through, my universe mother, that means something about to happen. When he starts talking in your mind, that's how she is. Yeah, she one of them. The women are worse. And it's like when you get into it with a Shakti, you got issues. Because they come in because of what was done to our heritage is the reason why we do not play. That was Storm. That's the one that'll fry you. So, You see, trying to find an angle. All the ones that feel like they going REPORT are the ones that be getting REPORTED. I ain't worried about that. Do you know how many people I moved and touched in the beginning? Do you know how many people were reaching out to me to testify? They wanted me to come to their trials. Y'all ain't getting no type of movement like that. It was so many people that had cases that wanted me to do readings for them. That's where all my videos were popular. You're right. But they were popular because they were connecting. They wasn't finding none of this stuff that they were going through on this platform. They weren't. And when I talked about it, they said, this is a person that I need to get a reading from. I'm talking about hood dudes. They were wanting readings. One got mad at me because I said, I ain't messing with you. His energy was like, he was blunt. He was like, I'm on this trial, blah, 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 blah. This is the message that he sent to me. And I said, nah, I'm good. That was before my ascension to know who I was. Y'all have to understand that people, specifically people of color, are aware of the accuracy that comes from my readings. So regardless if you feel like people are seeing them or not, someone sees them. For my particular genre, it'll take a while to reach 100K views. Y'all may say that that's not accurate, but I'm telling you, because if somebody's making 40K views in one upload, you would see it physically in their environment. Especially if there are ones that show you their environment. Now, I'm not saying that they're not making more views than me or more money than me. I'm saying that they're still buying views. For one, they feel like it puts them ahead of the people that they're taking from. So they feel like their video is going to come up first. And then it's up for debate who was the original. But when you look at someone's body of work and you take into account, does it make sense? Is it genuine? Are they really original? Do they say a lot of things that others are saying? And that is a reason why a lot of good readers don't watch other readers. Because they want to keep their flow. But when you have someone that says, I'm only going to copy the most popular readings, that means they done made their way up and through YouTube. What I know is it was possible to make 10K views because I did it. What I'm saying is in this current program, this protocol, and several different other protocols that are on the same app, it's not. And it's not because of what's taking place with these bots. When you're talking about corporations, their business is numbers. So if you don't think that they hired someone specifically for the analytics, the stats, as you call it, then you are silly. That means you wouldn't be good in business because all your I's is not dotted and all your T's are not crossed. You think you're smarter than the protocol, and you won't ever be smarter than the protocol. This comes from research. So as people start, the real geniuses is the ones that figure out how to get into the program and do what they do. But when they start messing with minds, they got a problem. That's all I'm saying. This one here, you don't want to mess with mine. You going right over there, What I know for a fact is when they purchase views, they're giving those agers invites to their platform. And it's not just this one. It's not just this one. There's a whole bunch of platforms where they use bots. The lure is for the ones that are not genuine. So if they want to only get the popular videos, they're lured to the ones with a lot of views. Some people thought the views equated money. This type of thinking is not logical. So if you feel like I'm gonna purchase views so I can get more money, it's something. There's a disconnect there. When you upload content, all your tools, all the money that you spent goes into the actual upload, the 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 creating of the content, not the publishing or the when you start sharing it. Not none of that. The marketing that for things like this, marketing is not really, you do your own. That's the purpose of having multiple apps. What that talks about is if you are a content creator, you share your own stuff on these different applications. That's your promotion. For me, when I see something at the top that says sponsored, I barely even notice it. Now, it's been artists that I've ran across that have promoted their stuff, like rappers, singers, and I see it and I say, I like that. I'm gonna go subscribe. It's a few that I have on here that are possibly local celebrities already. And I seen that flow and I liked it. And this is how you know who the local ones that really got heat, you know, because they promote their music. But for this, I tried it once. I don't even know what happened. I don't even know what happened. I don't even know if I got any views from that. There's an analytics that will show you what if anybody clicked on it. When I clicked on it, it didn't show me anything. So to me, that meant it didn't do what it was supposed to do. I'm just saying for readers, you know. So what I'm going to do is end the live.